I think, like I'm really cool with Brandon Reels. I like Brandon Reels, and I also, I like Danny Garcia as well. I think Danny Garcia has the edge. I was just telling you, of course, if it goes more than, if it goes a few rounds, I think that Reels does a good shot at really making this difficult fight. And being a real, blockbuster type of fight. But that's only if Brandon Reels can take Garcia's punches. If he can take this punch, then I think that we're going to be in for a great night of fighting. But if he can, it might end early. He can't take the punch.
Talk about the co-main event real quick. Benavidez versus Gabriel rematch.
Benavidez is a terror. I remember working with him maybe 8-9 years ago when he was a little kid, and he was a terror back then. So I know I haven't seen him in a while, but I know his pedigree. His pedigree is he comes to fight every time out and he fights hard.
Haven't you sparred with Brendan Reels too?
I sparred with Brendan Reels as well. That was a few years ago. He was out of shape. He wasn't ready. I was kind of out of shape, but not like he was. I seen him today, and he was like, I thought he was a 140-pounder. He looks really, really good. Brandon Reels is really good. But like I said, his pedigree with Brandon Reels is he's a fighter, he's a warrior, and he has a strong mind, a strong will, and he'll fight to the end. And with those type of fighters, you always come out with great fights. Always. Like I said, if you could take Danny Garcia's punches, if they're in there and they mix it up and he can take the shots, I think we'll have a really, really good night of fighting. I can't say who's going to win from that point, but if it is early, probably Danny Garcia if it's early.
Who's the best at 47? Or do your top 3?
Right now, I can't really I'm not going to, don't hold me to it, but for right now, there's a lot of possibilities at 142nd. What the popular choice would say, Earl Spence. That's the popular choice would say. But then you have Terence Crawford's moved to 47. He's also a really good fighter. Now, if he can handle the power of Earl Spence, and Terence Crawford, he can switch up. Then you have Sean Porter. He's a very hard fight for anybody, and he's always comes to shape. He's very, very strong. Danny Garcia, he's proven to be a worthy opponent. Then we have Keith Thurman. At this point, from what I see, I see Earl Spence. He's really proven himself. Earl Spence proven himself to be the top runner right now. But with that, he had to fight Terence Crawford, and that's gonna be a fight.
They make Crawford next fight against Jeff Warren.
I thought Crawford was fighting. Did I fight each other?
He's fighting Warren.
Not next, anyways. Jeff Horn right here in April. The guy from Australia that beat Manny Pacquiao controversially.
Yeah, Crawford's going to win that one. I believe.
Easily?
I think if they fight here.
Yeah, in Vegas.
In Vegas, yeah. I think he's going to beat him kind of easily. He might even knock him out, stop him.
Can you speak about, because you're an orthodox fighter, a fighter that goes from orthodox to southpaw in the actual fight. Can you speak like a Terence Crawford? What does that do to your psyche, and how do you prepare for it?
Well, Terence Crawford, if it was me and I was looking to fight him or looking for somebody else to fight him, he's a southpaw. I think he's a southpaw. He fights. He'll turn right-handed for a little bit just to tease you with it, and then he'll turn southpaw the rest of the fight. That's a southpaw to me. So it depends on how the fighter goes about training to prepare for somebody like Crawford. If I prepare for him, I prepare for him as a southpaw, and maybe he might throw some right hand in there, but he's a southpaw.
Which welterweight right now would have gave you the most trouble in your life?
Shit, nobody.
No. The one I think that's most similar to me is Terence Crawford. That's okay.
When he made the jump from 35 all the way to welterweight too.
Yeah, but he 30.
Not the way you did it, but
not the way I did. He did 35 for. But I was really a 47 pound. That's why I said Terence Crawford is kind of like me. We're kind of the same.
You got a bigger right hand.
The same, But I think Earl Spencer is good too. But I think that Terence Crawford has more boxing technique. Earl Spencer is strong, and he was strong like I was, and very, he hits him hard, and he's strong-minded. He's coming to knock you out, and I love that about Earl Spencer. He's coming to get you.
Shane, who excites you today? I mean, back in your time, it was you, Oscar, Fernando Vargas, Felix Trinidad. Do we have like 4 guys like that now?
They're trying to get together like that. I think that the welterweight division right now is spicy a little bit, not quite like that, but it's like that. I think that's the same. We can kind of say with Earl Spence and Keith Thurman and Dan Garcia, and those are the guys that are, and Terence Crawford. Those are the guys that are like making it like the Trinidad, Oscar, myself.
But be honest though, those 4 guys, you, Forte, Oscar, would they be able to compete with you guys? It seems like it's a little bit different level back then compared to now.
Yeah, it was a different type of mentality. And I blame it all on amateur fighting. That what happened. I blame it on amateur boxing back then. What happened because when Roy Jones went to the Olympics and he got robbed, and they changed to the point system. Now the boxers started doing the point stuff. When before that, when you had Sugar Land, Tom Hunch, man, all these guys, they had no headgears on. They was punching, they was fighting, and we had better professional fights. Even we were 92 last year, but even we had better. But that's when it kind of like tapered off until the point system and doing all this moving and stuff, and not really get in there and mix it up. Now, I think it's the point system away. Now they're going back to fighting again. So now we're getting good fights again because of that. So that's why I started blaming on the amateur program for that point system thing, because it made people start fighting that way. Now, people like to try to blame it on Floyd, but it's not really Floyd's fault. Floyd's just a technician, he fights really good. And he knows how to fight. So he'd sit right there in the pocket and fight with you, and they try to say he moves all the time. He's not really moving, he just moves his upper body. He did a great job of fighting that way, but I think it's the whole point system. Now that we got away from that, I think that we're going to start seeing some really good fights. Now we see really good fights all over the world. People from Russia, people from Cuba, everybody coming, to fight. They're fighting for real now.
Shane, you mentioned Floyd. You may or may not have some insight. I've always been curious about this. What is up with the beef between Oscar De La Hoya and Floyd Mayweather? I mean, they're constantly going at each other back and forth. A lot of people say it's because they fought, but you fought Oscar a couple times.
It's not because they fought. It's a personality. Their personalities are conflicting. Floyd's personality with Oscar's personality, and it's kind of like pissing on the territory.
Is it jealousy though?
I don't know if it's jealousy. It's like territory, like, now it's promotion. Now it's Floyd's promotion and Oscar and Go to Boy promotion. It's a territory now. It's just.
Who's the big boy in the block?
He's the big boy in the block now, and maybe Floyd's like, I have more money than you, and I'm bigger than you, and Oscar's like, well, I'm before you, and they're just going back and forth. I don't know if it's. I think it's just. Yeah, like I said, it's territory.
Yeah. You think he fights in the cage? Floyd?
I would hope not. Especially at his age now. He's 40 years old. Yeah. You don't need to be in no cage. Now your bones start breaking and stuff. Before you can kind of get away with it with the cartilage and stuff like that, but now you fall down the wrong way.
What if they make an offer? What if they make an offer that he can't refuse? Just a ridiculous amount of money.
Then you got to take it. Well, you don't have to get here. Got money, but. Knowing his ego, he might take it. I don't know. I don't think he should.
You think so? You think his ego would make him take something that could potentially embarrass him?
I think Floyd's a big ego, and he might take it. They give him like 500 or 100 million. million. I mean, would you take that or I don't know.
But knowing that
I
he
would
has
take
that,
it in a second. I'll be 50 years old. I'll be with Kane. Like, you got $100 million.
But
Like,
if you have
all
a
right.
million,
but Shane,
$1
but knowing
billion or $1 billion.
if you already got that, maybe you don't need to take that.
If I already had $500 million, then maybe I'd just be like, you know what, I'm good on that. I'll just, maybe I'll just get somebody else to do it, But
knowing that he has the ego, don't you think that that ego would maybe make him say, you know what, I'm not fucking up my legacy for this. I'm not gonna go take it. I'm not gonna go embarrass myself inside of the cage, something I've never done before, ever.
if it was me and I was talking to him, I was like, no, don't do that. That's the stupidest thing in the world. But, Floyd has his own mind. So if Floyd wants to go in there and if he thinks he can, if he feels that he can go in there and wrestle and, with this guy, all you gotta do is just look at what happened with James Toney when James Toney fought one of these guys. And James elected to try to wrestle with somebody that's been doing this all his life and got choked out in less than a minute.
Although Ray Mercer knocked out a guy in the cage.
Yeah, but the guy kicked Ray Mercer and Ray Mercer elected to hit him. James Toney, seeing the guy come down, I can't think of his name, Randy Couture, and he didn't even hit him. He tried to wrestle with him.
Shane,
What do you think
about Lomachenko's skills?
Oh, I love, Lomachenko that's a great fight. I like the way he moves, I like the way he throws his punches.
Is he
I like his
special or is he?
He's one of the specials, yeah. He really comes to fight, he really loves the game.
What did you think about his performance against Canelo?
Oh, spectacular. I mean, Ricky out was too small and he moved up and tried to, and thought that maybe his movement would give Lomachenko trouble, but now Lomachenko, he's a real deal.
The one fight we almost got, but didn't happen? You and Tito Trinidad.
I know.
How would that have played out?
That was Hookie's fault.
Yeah.
Ray's fault. That would have been a good fight, man. Obviously, I think I had more tools than he did. Seeing that the way Oscar moved around and boxed him and jabbed him, and I think Oscar's left hook was faster than Trinidad's. I would have got away from Trinidad's left hook. I knew that's the only thing. He threw his little right hand and the left hook right behind it. I would have been able to outbox him, and his chin wasn't particularly that good too. I just had to be careful when I'm knocked him down just to stay away, because every time he gets knocked down, if I start slapping him around and other guys on the ground.
That's my HBO when I was a kid, man.
Other guys, there was a father kid in the corner. I look over and said, "Father's fight, man!" I said, "Oh, I'm in trouble now." Pops hit him.
Now you mentioned Floyd. He mentioned Floyd's ego. And I remember you and Bernard Hopkins jumping into the ring. I forget who he fought. Can you speak to Floyd's ego, and does it innately push his opponent to act abrasive and aggressive, or?
For Floyd, in that particular time, Floyd, in his mind, had the advantage. He was younger than me, and he had the advantage. He kind of knew something was up. He knew I really wasn't the type that will provoke him like that. And then Bernard, because all I did was say, well, let us get it on, let's fight, let's let the world see what they need to see. And then Bernard's the one like, yeah, so he had to respond, And I thank Bernard for that, because that's why I was able to get the fight.
Oh, wow.
He was able to, you see, because Bernard is the one that really put the gasoline on the fire more, while we were sitting there talking. And then Floyd had to put up a shut up.
How do you see Canelo versus Golovkin?
Oh man, that's a great fight too.
Who'd you have winning the first one?
I thought Golovkin won the first one because he put the pressure, and I think that Canelo toward the end didn't really want to fight. He was throwing punches to get him off of him. So he hit him with good shots and just to get him off of him. But Golovkin was like keeping the pressure and touching him. And at the end of the day, it looked like Golovkin really wanted to fight. And Canelo was just ready to do the fight. The next fight. It looked like Golovkin really wanted it bad. So I think I would have gave it to Golovkin. This fight, I think that it could go with Golovkin, because now he knows. I think he started off late with Canelo, with the punches and stuff like that. But I think Me, honestly, I think Canelo is the better, the sharper fighter. The sharper, better, the technician, and has more tools. I think Golovkin's bigger, stronger, and I don't think Canelo can fight the whole 12 rounds. I think that he needs to take breaks. He needs to do his thing, move around a little bit, do his thing some more, move around a little bit. I think if Golovkin stays on top of him the whole 12 rounds, like he did the last fight in the 10th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th round, if he starts off like that, it's going to be very hard for Canelo.
When a fight is that close, does either guy have a mental edge going into the rematch? I know when you fought Oscar the first time, I felt like you clearly beat him, and I'm sure you felt like you clearly beat him going into the rematch. So
the second fight was a lot closer than the first fight to me. That's why if you see my facial expression when they said unanimous decision and they said Shane Mosley, I'm like, oh, you got, because the first time was a split decision, and I know I beat him better than I beat him the second time, so that's why I had the look on my face that, I won. Psychologically, if we're talking about Canelo and Golovkin, psychologically, it looked like to me that Golovkin had the edge mentally because he was the one that was chasing and going after Canelo. And Canelo was like, you know what, I'm tired, I just need to get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody has the mental, it's going to be Golovkin. Mental confidence, I believe. Not saying that Canelo won't have confidence. Canelo's got great confidence. Canelo, I'm not going to say outclassed, but he was touching Golovkin with all kinds of stuff.
And he was able to take Golovkin's power, which not everybody thought he could do.
He was able to take Golovkin's power, but Golovkin was hesitant.
is that because of Canelo's power?
That's because of Canelo's power. That's because he didn't know if Canelo can actually rock him, knock him out, or whatever. So Golovkin was hesitant too. They both were hesitant. Now, which could be a good fight, they're going to both go out there and do their thing. Canelo's going to start off doing what he does. Golovkin's going to come out probably even stronger.
Which one do you think can adapt better? I mean, is it going to be easier for Canelo to make adjustments, or is it going to be Golovkin who has to make adjustments?
In the beginning, it's going to be easier for Canelo, and toward the end, because Canelo doesn't have to fight the whole fight, it's going to be really hard for Canelo, because Golovkin's going to be on the whole fight.
Is that a consistent problem for Canelo, that he doesn't like to fight the entire fight? Is that a stamina
Well, that's
thing?
going to be that's a serious problem for this fight. I know.
They said the same thing about Oscar too.
Huh?
They said the same thing about Oscar, that he would kind of fade at the end.
Well, that's because as we got older, he started fading at the end. He started picking the rounds when they're going to fight. You know, picking the time, the beginning and the end. You know, you start thinking too much. Instead of when you're younger, you just go out there and do your thing. You get older, you be like, okay, I gotta, and then walk away a little bit. Walk over here, okay, 10 seconds. All right, go rest.
Why?
You know.
Let me ask you, why? I grew up in LA. I followed your whole career from the amateurs, the pro, the Olympic auditorium, you and Oscar. Why does Oscar get more credit than you when you were the better fighter?
Because Oscar's the golden boy.
What does that mean?
He won the gold medal. That's what comes to golden boy. He won the gold medal. 92. He's the only one to win the gold medal in 1992. Also, in the beginning, I got my credibility mostly in New York as lightweight. I had to go to New York and get my credit because he was, like I said, he's a golden boy and he had the power. I thank Oscar for fighting me in California because he made it able for the whole world to know who I was, not just New Yorkers on the East Coast, but the whole world, the West, East, the whole world. He chose, he didn't have to fight me. And I went from 135 to 47, he had to fight me, he fought me. And, for the pride and for all that stuff, the pride of LA, all that, and what happened.
Shame.
So I thank him for that.
Last one for me, it's now that you've retired and you can really reflect, how does it feel to be one of the real living legends in the sport?
I mean, it feels great. It feels great to be able to live up my dreams of all the years I've been boxing. I started boxing when I was 8 years old, so I've been boxing for 37 years. And to be able to live out my dreams and do things I want to do in the sport, and the sport that I love. I love this sport. I love going to, even today, even though I know I'm not gonna ever fight again, and I even chose not to even spar anymore. So now that I know that that this is the end, I mean, I'm happy. I'm at peace with myself. And I just love it. I love giving out information. I love talking about it. I love going to fights, watching the younger fighters fight. I love being a spectator and giving you guys what I think happens, what's going to happen, advice and stuff like that. I mean, this is great.
Did you kind of expect it to happen, or do you sit here today like, wow, I did this, is it surprising at all, or did you expect this at a young age?
Well, through me fighting, I expected when I got to like 40, 41, 42, and I'm sparring, I'm fighting. My last fight I fought Day of the Bison. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to retire soon.
Yeah.
You know?
How did you feel?
I mean, I felt all right, but when I seen him and I hit him, it was like I
Pull the trigger.
couldn't pull a trigger, and then when I hit him, it was like I didn't have the same sting or snap, and then I see he was doing stuff, and I seen it. I couldn't like move out the way in time, and my reflexes wasn't the same. And I'm getting mad about. I'm talking to myself as a fighter. I never did that before. So I'm talking to myself. Like I'm my old man. I'm like you know what? And then my last fight, I was getting ready to fight this one guy in Russia, and I hurt my arm. But the guy was younger than my son. I'm like. And then when we was at the press conference, he's walking around, he's like all up under me like, oh yeah, so what about this and what about asking me questions like if he was my student or something. I'm like, this is crazy. Like I can't do this no more.
Well, I want to say thank you. I grew up in LA. I just want to say thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I followed you basically from day one. You and Oscar. I just want to say thank you for all the highlights. And your YouTube reel is amazing. All the knockouts in a row. And I know I speak for many of us. Just thank you.
Sure.
Thanks, Shane.
Shane, what's your
Sugar
favorite
Shane Mosley.
What's your favorite boxing moment?
The right hand on Floyd.
That was a moment for everybody. The whole world. That stopped the world.
There was no oxygen in there when that
Yeah, it was like when I hit with that, when I hit with the right hand, actually, I didn't throw everything I needed to throw on it, and I buckled him, and I was like, oh, he buckled on that. Oh, okay. So then we did a little thing, and then I caught with the next right hand, boom, I almost dropped him. And I was thinking, I'm gonna knock Floyd out. He's gonna get knocked out. The bell rung.
Thought you were gonna knock him out.
And the bell rung, like maybe 15, 20 seconds later, the bell rung, ding. I was like, I get him next round. Next round never happened. It never happened. He just. They start touching me. I'm like, oh man, come on, I gotta get him. Let me just hit him one more time. I know I can knock him out. And then, they won. Like I said, Floyd's a great fighter, great technician. He grew up with his whole family. Floyd, Roger, Jeff, all of them were, world champions, and he just grew up as a champion. He's a true champion. He's a great fighter.
What's the hardest thing about fighting him? Is it his IQ? Is it his defense?
For me, the hardest thing is my age and my whatever. For me. For everybody else, it's his knowledge and his experience. Like for me and Oscar, it wasn't the knowledge. Like we were. It's like we're both fighting the same era because he grew up in the boxing era. But so we can fight with them. But for the younger crowd, they didn't know how to deal with this and this. They didn't know how to do that. My age, and I think that it was the right place, right time, and it was Floyd's time. It was the money team time. It wasn't Mosley or our De La Hoya time. Our time was gone. You know, we was just trying to, you know, one last hurrah.
Thank you, Shane. Get that paper. Thanks, Shane.